Welcome back to another live trading session, traders. Hope that you had an enjoyable day and starting another trading session on the last day of trading week. On Friday, pretty volatile day, looking at entry from a very key level. The market is in a pretty sideways. We can see that there is significant consolidation here, and as there is a consolidation, the market eventually could break out of the consolidation, waiting on a potentially breakout especially. And this is a live session that we will be discussing about potential entry. Today's focus, I have two pairs. One is GBP USD, the other one is on gold. If you have any pairs that you are looking at, also you can share in the live chat. Welcome. And write something in the live chat if you are here. Thanks for joining. It's Friday and last day of trading week, looking at entry in this session here. So look at, this is a lower time frame market structure here, and with this lower time frame market structure, the market is in a pretty sideways at the moment if you look at, and in that sideways trend, okay, so if you look at here, it is a sideways market, and in that sideways market we would like to see that the market is eventually breaking out of that level. Okay, so here is a, if you look at, this is a rejection followed by, we can see the market had another bounce back to the upside here in this market, and with that bounce, if you look at from this support level, there is a clean breakout that we can expect here, and with that breakout, looking at an entry here in that area. This is a key support level here that you can see, and with this support level, expecting that the market to trend, drop down here, trend, and then to return again back to the upside. So currently this is a, if you look at the intraday perspective here from the 4-hour chart here, this is a bullish long-term bull market. Now if you look at here, there was a significant consolidation, and with that consolidation there is a breakout here in that market. So if you look at, looking at the monthly chart, first of all we'll be doing a complete multiple time frame analysis. Come on. Okay, it's good now. All right, so we are looking at the multiple time frame analysis. Now if you look at, this is a long-term bullish market structure here, and in this long-term bull market we'll be waiting for a potential breakout, potential bounce back to the upside. So from the bigger picture we can see that it is a bull market, it is a long-term bullish market, right? So with the progressing of this analysis, also we'll be looking at some fundamental aspect of this week's market here. Now looking at also news is important, because this is where you will be able to see that how the market is reacting. Please check AUD USD. Okay, we will be looking at some currency pairs. Hello trader, welcome. So here there's some other news as well. What's that about? Concerns over spending continues to drive much of the conversation on Wall Street in the first few weeks of 2026. Bulls are going, we are still in the early stage of massive shift that will see companies spending billions more on technology over coming years. Bears, on the other hand, said investors driven AI expansion. Something we can look at. Oh, come on. Now, so some fundamental that you can see in the market, it's important that we can look at. Okay, so we have some schedule news if we look at the next week as well. So we are trading on Friday today. It's pretty important to look at how the market will react even for the next week's move coming in the market. So if you look at here, the next week coming up, CAD, British Pound US Dollar, USD, AUD, NZD, JPY, British Pound US Dollar, Euro. These are some significant event coming next week. And therefore, if we look at metal, that means that gold also highly influenced with this week's and the next week's news also that you can see. So therefore, if we look at from the technical point of view, because it's Friday and last day of trading weeks is very important. It's absolutely, because last session, last day of trading week is where you will see the most of the market moves, in fact, in this day. So if you look at the weekly chart that I'm looking at here in this market, so dropping down to the weekly here, this is the weekly price action where the market is maintaining this series of higher high and higher low, which is in a bull market from the weekly perspective. And where we can see the daily chart, if we look at the daily market structure here, this is the daily price action where the market is maintaining this series of higher high and higher low, which is in an uptrending market structure. And let's look at in depth on the daily market structure here. Now looking at the daily price action on gold, that we can see this daily market is quite significantly bullish starting from here. Okay, this is an impulse to the upside on the daily, followed by this correction. And we can see that there is another impulse back to the upside here, followed by this deeper correction here in this market. So because it's a significantly bullish market here on gold that you can see. Now analyzing the daily price action, good day, welcome. analyzing the daily price action is important, because this is where that, if you look at here, you can see this is a daily doji, and with this daily doji, from this support level, the market tested the previous daily low. The market tested the previous daily low, grabbed that liquidity here, and after that the market bounced off that level, of that support level, to the upside here on the daily time frame on XAUUSD. Now, because it is a bullish market here on the daily here on gold, we can see from this support level there is a breakout, and with this breakout from the intraday, we can see that back-to-back 2 sessions the market dropped back to this support level, and there is an initial bounce back from this level. So there was a significant sideways movement that you can see in this market. This is a trend line. Okay, so with that trend line, here, this is a support level. Back-to-back 2 sessions, there were sideways movement. Now currently the market is breaking out of that resistance line, and with that breakout, we could see that potential new high. So the bias that we can see here is bullish, right? So from the technical and also considering the fundamental, we can see that gold is bullish. I would like to look at this. If you look at this, is the intraday, this is the 30 minutes chart. A green candle followed by a red, and then followed by a green candle. This is the 30 minutes double bottom here, and it's slowly breaking back to the upside. Here you can expect further rejection, as quite a few sideways market here moved. So if you look at here, you can see this is a break, straight drop, bounce back to the upside. Now the market dropped to that order block, and we can see that from this order block the price has reacted back to the upside. Let's say that if we straight drop again back to another order block, if you look at here, you see that in the previous move the market dropped to the order block, and from the order block it reacted back to the upside here. Now it still can bounce off that level, because this is a currently significantly bullish move, and at the same time if you look at the 30 minutes chart, it's a bullish engulfer, and with that bullish engulfer the market is maintaining that uptrend here. Lower time frame price action that you can see from this resistance line, it reacted back below here. Now breaking below, if you look at, there is a crossover of this 10 and 20 EMA. So if we look at the trade entry engine, we see there was a move here that in the past in this lower time frame, and with this movement here, looking at this market to create an upside bias, and I think there is a potential for significantly to be bullish. Now this is if you look at, there is a potential for an upside move as this market is maintaining an uptrending market structure in that area. If you look at the daily, intraday, also the market is breaking out of that structure. Market reach a key level. Now, from this key level, are you going to see a deeper pullback or continuation back to the upside? This is what we're looking at in this market at the moment. And I think there might be potential continuation because there is a significant move here in this market. So for us, as the market reach this key level, what we are looking at in this market to show a potential bias for further bullish move back above here in this market. This is a bullish price action that we can see so far. And good day, welcome back to this another live trading session here. So we are looking at the market structure. That's where the price action showing that there's quite a few false breakout here in this market. So with this false breakout, we will be looking at, as there is a break of trend line. If you look at, there is a break of trend line, and that break may go up further here. So if you look at the daily, the market is approaching this daily resistance line. Here multiple times there is a rejection, and I would like to take this potential move back to the upside here in this market. So there is a possibility that the market will go back to this daily resistance line, which could eventually take that market back to this daily resistance, and then to potentially reverse back again to this support level, or continue to rise back again to the upside. This might be a breakout now. Yeah, I think that it's already a breakout that you can see in this market. And with this breakout, if you look at, this is a breakout, a significant breakout here that you can see. And now this market, the daily chart, if you look at, it's approaching that daily high. Now this is a sign of the long-term trend continuation back to the upside. But at the same time, the market, if you look at today's low is here, the market tested this daily low here, and because the market tested this daily low here, all right, so we will be waiting on this market structure for a bullish bias in this market. Okay, so far showing that there is an upside bias, and with that upside bias here, there is Okay, so we will be looking at here for the market to eventually trend back down, back below here, and it's a still possibility that the market will continue to rise. So therefore, breaking below can give us now an entry criteria potentially for an upside bias here, because it created a new momentum back to the upside. So you're biased back to the upside. There is a crossover of 10 and 20 MA showing that this is eventually a bullish trend, bullish market. So therefore, here breaking below can be an opportunity for us to go long. If you look at here, you can see after the retest, the market is showing that it's on that upside bias. By the way, we need to find an entry before we look at, because even if you are correct in terms of directionally, without entry criteria, it's sometimes will not be a good idea to enter. Patience is key, as I mentioned earlier, always. Along with also, I was looking at British Pound US Dollar earlier. Okay, so if you look at GBP USD, this is the GBP USD. If you look at here, the trend is bullish on British Pound US Dollar, and that's where the market is maintaining that uptrend here on GBP USD. And in any pullback on GBP USD also can be a good area that we can look for potential buying in this market. So this is the current support level here on British Pound US Dollar, and let's wait to see how far it goes. The session's low is here on GBP USD, and also the trend is bullish. There is a cross of 10 and 20 M as well. There's a series of higher low, so which is a sign of, in fact, in moving in this direction here. Do you trade GBP USD? You can share in the live chat, or what currency pair you trade. Okay, so with this move here on gold, it's maintaining that uptrend, and the price is slowly pushing that back to the upside here. You're looking at this market structure to maintain its uptrend. By the way, as it is Friday, okay, so Friday is special because this is where the market sentiment changes. There are two potential scenarios that's coming later. With the one is, if you look at the weekly, right, so this is a massive bullish breakout earlier, and back to back 2 weeks, there is no week at the bottom. You can see that in those weekly candle, that's that there is a gap open. Okay, so there's a gap open, and because there's a gap open, there is a potential for an upside move here. If you look at now, therefore looking for a breakup structure for us to be able to enter into a trade. If you're enjoying the live session, make sure you give a thumbs up. Now, all right. Yeah, we need a breakup structure for an entry. The market is slowly breaking out of that structure, creating series of higher high and higher low, and this is the recent level of resistance, which is also the daily resistance line. If you look at the market is daily high, so there is a very high chance the market to come back again to this daily low. So therefore we could enter a short-term entry, but you want to see that finding that entry. If we don't find an entry to the upside, but the market really reacted on top, we can look for that potential selling in this market. So combining with all this, looking at entry, so this is a bullish trend that you can see here in this market. Hello trader, welcome. And getting that back to the upside here in this market, which is showing that gold to be significantly bullish here. And if you look at from this lowest point, the way the market has moved, it didn't look back, it just bounced off the level. And so it's maintaining still that series of higher high and higher low. So the price is, if you look at, it's trading above 10 exponential moving averages. Even didn't test the 20 EMA yet. So that means breaking below that to this 20 EMA can be an area that you can look for possible buying opportunity here in this market. Target 461.28. $4,631. So today's high is at 4,620. The previous daily high is I think there is another possibility for another drop here to the daily low for 4591, and without breaking this low here, it is less likely to be directly going back up to create a new higher high. Let me explain to you guys why I think so. So what we could see the market either to break this daily high, okay, or the market to break this daily open and close. Now if you look at the overall, because daily trend is very important, daily market is quite important. If you look at here, you can see this is the daily long week, and there is another daily candle and today's candle. So you can find a significant pattern here. You can see series of lower high. So when you see that series of lower high, though it is in an uptrend, the market already has shown a downward bias here from that. So we could see eventually a daily close even like that. But what we could see that if the market breaks below, which is what I think, without breaking below, it's less likely to go up and create a bullish price action. If it breaks below, it might even break the previous daily low, right? And in that zone here, at the end of the day, before the weekly close, we might see that going back to the upside, creating two red candle long week, or creating two dojis, and then with the weekend opening, we might see new higher high. So at this point where the market is, I wouldn't bet for long. Instead, at the moment, because the market already broken the above, instead we will be looking for a sign for potential trend change for the price to drop down to this today's low here. So today's low is here. All right, so that means if the market shows enough trend continuation, so you can see slowly the steam is losing with the uptrend. So it is possible that the market will create a downtrending market structure. And once it creates that downtrending market structure, we might see multiple false breakout here. It might just drop straight down here with like a waterfall, or we might see the trend continuation. So once we see that the market has shown that confirmation, still you can see it's maintaining an uptrend. There is a breakout structure. So before changing trend, the market does this, create a breakout structure, create the trend. We'll be looking for this market to change the trend, and then we can sell for this potential move back down here. If it drop down here, which is 230 pip move, we could see that the market to come back. At this point, it formed a double top here, this one here, right? So this double top, it is a first of all breakup series of lower high here. Now, so that's what you're looking at for a potential downtrend. Slowly, the market structure is showing that potentially downtrend. So the market trend slowly breaking that low here, and there is still possibility for another breakout, another move before it eventually, if it changed the trend. Still didn't change the trend, slowly breaking out of the structure. It just below the 20 EMA. Okay, so still there will be some potentially up and down here. So here I'm going to use a pending order for potential break back to the upside for this imbalance. As if the market changes trend, we will see the price to break below. But I think before it changes the trend, there is a higher possibility for another breakout, and after creating a multiple false breakout. If it wants to change it, you will see the downside here. So we'll be using a pending order for a bounce here back to the upside if the market does, with a significantly lower stop loss. And for this possible move will not take much. As I mentioned, from the daily resistance, there is a high possibility the market could eventually break below here. So this is around 31 to 32 pips stop loss that we will be taking here. We'll keep the stop loss at the below the daily high, but we can change or take profit previously if needed. So here I'm looking at on this, it's a pending order 4614.79. Stop taking at 4611.50, and profit target setting at 4620.61. It's at the entry almost. Place the pending order. So, by the way, my trade got active. So this is if you look at, as we mentioned, there is a potential for change of trend. We can expect this market to have, without what I think, taking enough liquidity from this high, it's less likely to be strongly bearish because the market left an imbalance at 4616 level. So there is a potential for another bounce here in that market. Just looking to see how it is reacting to that. And if there is a weak fill here, market almost dropped to that similar level, and still remain with the trade. So there is a potential for weak fill in that area. If you look at the 1 hour here, it's a very significantly smaller gap. So there is a potential for, if you look at back-to-back 2 long week candle has formed, and the 1 hour market structure, the candle closed with a pretty long week doji here. I think there is a double top here, and there's a possibility for stronger rejection from this level. We need a little bit wider stop loss because there is significant fluctuation, and if you have a tight stop loss, it's always better to manage the risk accordingly. Let's see that what kind of price action it creates. There is still possibility for another bounce. So waiting for further entry. If we look at anytime we could see a reaction back to the upside, and there's no news today, so with 1 hour candle closed, and I think there is a potential for weak fill here, and I will be opening buy from that with again very tight stop loss, and I would like to keep that very tight here, as the market has tested the 5 minutes 20 EMA. So it will be 35 pips stop loss, and I am opening buy again in that area. So stop loss at 4606.71, and we'll keep the profit target in the same way, 4617. might be able to change it accordingly. 17.50, and so open in that area for another move. Okay, so here the market, this breakdown is a sign that later the market, we might see that retesting the daily low, but there is a high chance the price will go again for another liquidity sweep at 4617. So I am long on this trade for a possible 60 pip move, so that we can take that move potentially back to the upside here. And so we had the previous trade here, 35 pip minus, and we'll be looking at this one potentially to cross that high. All right, so 20 pip here, we might be able to see nearly to, if it cross back to the upside, it's gonna be 60 pip. Now we bought here. I'm still buy because the market is still, if you look at with this breakdown, we still can expect for the market to have another potential retest of this high here. And if you look at the 1 hour, there is a, it left a pretty long wick at the top, so there is a potential for wick fill to the upside, and that wick fill might take that market, as soon as it's gonna get a rejection here, there's a potential for a wick fill back to the upside in this market. This is what I'm looking at to see how the price may do. And there is a potential for 60 pip growth potential and if the market take that reversal back to the upside, okay, so there is a narrower, if you look at the 5 minutes price action, pretty long narrow doji candlestick pattern has formed, and with this doji, the market potentially it's creating a reversal price action here in that area. And so looking at the 1 hour, so this is the 1 hour candle closed with a big green candle. Now this red candle is, if you look at, it has left, this green candle has left a long wick at the top, and there's a potential for the market to go ahead and fill that long wick. That's what we looked at, but trading is all about probability. So, you know, you can't always be right, but you can have proper understanding, and management is the key. Okay, so depending on what kind of strategy you're using, okay, if you have a very bigger profit target, then you have to accept some trade will not work out in your favor. That's how the market moves, because if you look at, in a very smaller scale, have you ever looked at the MT4 mobile version or even the PC version? So you'll see that on a smaller scale, the market moves like this. Okay, this is how the market moves. So you'll be able to always keep the market to go straight in one direction. That's how the market moves. So therefore, depending on what kind of strategy you're using, you will see the market will be, you always have to take one directional bias and then weight it depending on, everyone has a different strategy. Okay, if you have a bigger profit target, then you need to hold on to the trade in one direction until it goes to your profit target. So what we talked about is this one. If you look at here, you can see how the market moves. You see, this is how the market moves. It's a very interesting thing. It's in a very smaller scale. Do you see that, how the market moves? So this is how, this is the natural rhythm of the market. See, and therefore It's never going to go in one direction as always expected. There will be always fluctuation. Okay. Now with this narrow doji that you can see, okay, now here, what I think ultimately this structure could break to the upside because there is still an uptrend continuation here. This is a potential break of structure here, and if that's the case, we can expect the market to go ahead 4616 to gain momentum, either to go up further to this daily high or dropping down from that level straight back to this daily low. And if you look at the 1 hour, so this 1 hour had a long wick, it left big long wick here. That long wick eventually could be going to fill that if the market successfully bounced back to the upside. Okay, so this kind of structure eventually should be breaking to the upside here. You can see it's creating a series of higher low, and we tweaken the trade in that direction because so it's getting that upside here. Okay, we are 28 midnights. If you look at the 1 hour, so it's reached that 1 hour high. Now looking to see that it's going to fill that long wick at the top. Still holding on to that to see that this market is getting the reaction back above. Now there's a pretty higher chance for a breakout, and if it breaks out, chances that it eventually could go back above 4620. So because there is a significant imbalance in that area, so the market normally moves from imbalance to the imbalance. So the market is like an universe. If you look at the universe, it's universe constantly strive for balance, right? So the market also constantly strive for balance. So therefore it left imbalance in that area because it's an uptrend. So the possibility to go back up to fill that imbalance is higher, but at the same time, depending on some fundamental factors, the bubble on gold price also was important, because pre-week there was one kind of sentiment may have changed. If the sentiment change because it's weekend, there might be significant drop, but still, for me, it's still there is a very high chance for the market to remain bullish to create a new higher high. and taking the profit. Now it's getting, basically taking those orders from here, and the 1 hour here, there is a so it might entirely drop down back below. It's not gonna move. It might go back to the daily low here again. So eventually we could see the price to break that daily low. So the market has, if you look at this, is the green move from a double top, had a entirely rejected from the high. So where we could see now the market to okay, it might now come back below to this order block. So there is a here, this is an order block, and this is how the market create this kind of trap, especially when it prepare for a false breakout. So if you look at here, it has bounced back to the upside, and from that retest rejected back again. So the market structure here now, after this liquidity sweep, it tested the lower shadow, tested the higher, and then returned back below. Now we are looking at here in that zone for so because it failed to create a higher high, potentially to create a lower low. Right, so as to see that what's market structure is being built here. Still it has a possibility for to go back to 4616 if the market, there is a session opening coming, and this 15-minute candle is a bearish engulfer. There's an order block here as well. Possible waterfall. The market structure is still here bearish, but there might be creating a new lower low here because it's carrying rejection from a very high. Here is bearish here in that area, and market structure is showing to be significantly downside here in that market at the moment, and this is now with long bearish candle, the possibility that the price to drop down below this level is pretty higher here now, and with that, see the market structure is significantly lower in that area. The chances for this market to drop down to 61 pip is significantly higher here, and two double doji here. Now there is a bullish fair value gap if you look at here in that area, and that bullish fair value gap could be filling. If you look at a complete red move, there is no significant pullback. There is a pressure here for this potential drop down. And okay, so this 1 minute candle, that you can see another stronger bearish candle. Okay, so in this bearish price action, now we can see on XAUUSD. Okay, there is we can look for an entry on a price action confirmation here, because the market structure is strongly bearish, that we can see. And when the market falls like that, it's gonna keep falling till the order block. So we might be look for entry if the price goes and maintain a breakup structure. So at the moment, if it creates a breakup structure of this downtrend, that's where we can look for an entry for this move back below to the support level. you're looking for any entry. From the fundamental perspective, if we look at, it was significantly bullish throughout the week, that gold we have seen. Now what happened is that because throughout the week there was a significant tension, and that boosted gold back to the upside. Now it's on a pullback, so still for longer term gold is still bullish, and that is what we're looking at. So there might be a double bottom here, and that could create, if you look at here, you can slowly trying to push that back so to the upside. Here there is a 20 EMA on the lower time frame, and which may potentially create a selling opportunity here in this market. It has come to a point where we might see that the market to have the reaction, but I think still there is a, if you look at here, it's still trying to break that low. Still there is a possibility for significantly lowering that market. And okay, so two long wick dodges here. Now those price action could create downward pressure here. The what I think is, if you look at 1 minute chart, also creating a, and if we trade here, we will be using the pending order for this potential drop down back below. Ready to take another entry. I'll keep this gap for my profit target. If we enter, and significant gap here. Yeah, this is a bearish FVG. Now, if the market breaks and come well below, we will be placing this sell stop order. For 601.82, stop loss above 4604.16, and so this is what we want to keep in this move here on gold. So if the market breaks below, we will be on the trade. It's a sell stop order, and so place that sell stop order for a potential break below. If it breaks to the upside, you are not here. Because this market is significantly now lower. place the sell stop. If there is a reversal, we might see a different price action pattern. So we place as per the session. Okay, so we are potentially getting a trigger here that might bring that market back below. Now the stop loss pip here is very small, okay, only 24 pip. Might push a little bit higher, but I'll be closing as soon as it reach enough profit target, because the stop loss pips are significantly lower. And as soon as it because it's a very tight stop loss, I will be taking profit as soon as it reach lower further. It's a little bigger lot here, and I'm closing the profit now. It's a pretty big move. Okay, so okay, that trade alone got 40p, but this is a higher lot. It's important that we look at the lot. Okay, now the trade is closed, and it's a bigger lot, little bit. After breaking support, think we can free to fall 4550. 45, I wouldn't say free to fall, because if you look at the market has just tested the daily support right now. It didn't test yet. This is the daily low, but it has broken the previous session's low. If you look at here closely, it's a successful trade. Now closing it, and if you look at here, this move from this support level, it broken above and then drop down with one. You see, this is a kind of double bottom in an uptrend. So there is a trend line break that you can see, and with this trend line break here on gold, it's pretty interesting, right? Okay, it's showing that one. I have a significant question, guys, for those who are trading. Learning to trade is hard. Trading is hard, right? But if you know that why trading is hard, then it's gonna be easy. Just you need to know why trading is hard. So this is today's question: why trading is hard? So this is a question. Let me see how many members here really responding to that. You can go lower. 4510 gap opening. There might be. Let's wait. I think there might be further lower or can bounce off that level. Okay, let's compare trading with paperboard. Okay, have anyone made paperboard before? Paperboard, like with a paper, made a boat, float on the water. So if you create a paperboard, okay, you can try one. So let's say you create a paper boat, you made a paper boat, and then you give it to someone with 30 cents, okay, or 1/10 of a dollar. You sell them and you traded that paper boat, okay? You traded the paper boat. But why trading is so hard? In terms, if you compare with the paper boat, you can create a paper boat and you can sell it to anyone, right? All right, so that's, once you know that, it's gonna be easy to trade this. Okay, well done. And if you guys look at, there's a website below. You can go to the website, head on to the website and check out for all the details. That this is what you need. Learning trading is important because you know that it's gonna be easy, right? So when you create a paper boat, you sell, give it to cousin or someone to sell with 30 cents. So both of you are winner, right? So you made a paper boat and you gave it to your cousin. You got 30 cents, your cousin got the paper boat. So both of you are winner, right? But in trading, both of you cannot be winner. That's why it's hard. So you have to be winner when someone is loser. Someone is loser, you have to be winner. And that's the reality. That's, you have to accept that fact and then become a trader. Okay? So therefore, learning to trade means that actually you learn to become a winner in this market, and that's where learning to trade. So okay, here we got that one, and risk management is key. Okay, here we can see the market slowly breaking below here, and we might see that the price is coming down to the daily low. All right, cool. Okay, so here we can see the market from this support level getting the rejection back up, and I think still there is a possibility for a downside here. A big red candle formation. Okay, with this long wick, it's trying to push that price back above here, and there's a pretty stronger move that you can see from the lower time from the 4-hour chart. Back to back 3 dodges here, and there is a potential for what I think that this market to break that session's low. Eventually we might see the market to again go back above here. Okay, so it's what I think potentially creating a reversal pattern here, but still the session's low is not broken, and that is where you could see the market to show up its zone here. Okay, now this 5 minutes is closing in 2 minutes time. This is significantly, so far we can see that this price action is still bearish. Depending on how it is closing, it might close a big red candle. In that case, we might see that further downside here. You see this is a false breakout again, has given new momentum potentially, and okay, so narrower candlestick pattern, quite a few. Okay, with a double top, it entirely has broken back below here, and Okay, so here is this is a pretty long week candlestick pattern. This is being formed in that area, and we're going to enter again. Still not break even today. If we consider our previous trade, okay, so do you think that it's gonna break below coming down here, or it's gonna go back again to the daily high? Posting a poll. Let's see what everyone is doing. Okay, so I have posted a poll. It eventually has broken that support. Now looking at further entry opportunities Friday, guys, ready for big week, and it's in the next session. In this last session, there is a significant potential move coming up. Let's refresh the chart to look at the new market structure. And ready for another entry? Want to take more today? Say yes in the live chat. we see the market is trending, and I'm looking for potentially setup again as soon as it appears. The market structure showing that there is a potential for further downside here, and this is the 4-hour price action. For the first time, the market has just broken back below the previous session's low here. It's in a very crucial level on the lower time frame that you can see, and if you look at the 15 minutes here, a big bear candle that is eventually breaking below. If you're enjoying the live session, make sure you like this stream and also subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done yet, press the notification bell so that you're not missing any of the content that I'm posting, including regular daily analysis as well as trade setup that I'm sharing every day. Also stay connected by joining Telegram. You can find link below this video for regular trade setup. And also during the London and NY Open, I do share analysis as well as trade setup, especially the breakout trades that we take, so where you can learn and grow. A simple strategy, advanced trading tool, that's where the secret is. So don't miss out any part of that. Now at the moment you can see there is the 5-minute chart. The market is showing that there is a potential for so back to back 2 long week candlestick pattern here, and entire break below. Okay, so as we looked at, the market has just broken the daily low and eventually coming back below the support level, and it's a weekend move, so there is a extended consolidation that we have seen over the few days. So Now this consolidation if you look at from here, it's entirely a break below here, so we're expecting the market to come back to the support and eventually crack that low. Guys, this is trading, right? So we are looking about market. Thanks for understanding, right? So here we are looking at okay, so what's happening here on the daily? The market has entirely broken below. Okay, now where the price is approaching the daily low, so the previous daily low, if the market breaks the previous daily low, we could see a reaction. What do you think? That the market is going to get a reaction from the previous daily low? If you look at here, it's entirely down in a downtrend, so that might take that market here, you know, extended below the previous daily low is a crucial point, because as we discussed in the beginning of this session, right, once the market break the previous daily low, we are ready for potentially breaking further below, or we could see the market to head a break back to the upside here. So that is where, okay, this is where we are looking at. Now the market trend is still bearish. You still could see the market to fill that gap here. All right, so have some music. It's Friday. Waiting for the market to show up. Weekend coming up. It's pretty exciting. 2 days of break. As a trader, it's good to see that we have 5 days to trade and 1 day to 2 days to have a break. And also there is some education coming over the weekend, so don't miss out that. I'm still looking today to trade further here to all of you guys, and I hope that you are enjoying the live session. Make sure you don't miss out by subscribing, also pressing that notification bell so you're not missing any of the content that I'm posting. This week was really interesting. If you guys looked at some of the event happen, expect order to homes, define Everyone looks smiley, isn't it? It's all of them. What is this strat trade? They're broker? Sponsorship events and certificate. Team ahead of ICC Men's 20 World Cup. At this point, what signals do you look for on chart for a move to the upside or drop below? That's the most important question, isn't it, for this session here? So, all right, going back to the market again. Looking at market today, so far we saw that there was significant break below. We have taken 3 trades now. We saw this is a very interesting, this kind of market structure form rarely. If you guys looked at the previous analysis, it formed a fish pattern, right? So now it has broken downside here, right? And with this break below, the uptrend is still valid, right? So now daily, I'm really looking at the daily market structure because this is the previous daily low is here. Okay, the market is approaching that daily low, and breaking the daily low can really trigger a significant amount of liquidity in that market. Now, one thing can happen over the, later today, okay, is after breaking the previous daily low, the market may still reverse back again to go back to the daily resistance because long-term trend is bullish. Another one possibility, which is lower possibility, is if the market eventually breaks the entirely, you even can look at this market which is less likely, but because there is a massive bullish fair value gap in that area. So if you look at here, see this is a massive bullish fair value gap, which is nearly to the weekly fair value gap to 600 pip. If the market breaks that entirely below, right? Now, why this could happen? There is only one reason. This is the fundamental, okay? Now, gold and oil both bubbled up throughout the month, right? Due to some geopolitical tension. Now, more of here sentimental buyers that we have seen. Now, if geopolitical tension reduces, there is a chance for a sudden drop back to this weekly low. If it still remains, there could be that gold from this level going back to the upside and moving back again. So how do we know from the technical analysis? Is to look at the price action to see how the market has done. But my personal opinion is that this market may not break below eventually finally here. We could see that any of this support broken and bouncing back to the upside because it's a very strongly bull market. Okay, so it requires a lot of up and down. Okay, so therefore the bias still could remain to the upside with this market. So now at the moment it's putting pressure on the previous daily low. So here for short-term perspective, we might see the market to come back below here. There was a huge sudden drop in oil a couple of days ago when Trump mentioned Iran. I had also previous analysis on oil. So oil is still bullish. Okay, this is a downtrend, but there is still potential for bounce on oil. Okay, this is, if you look at this, there is a break of trend line. There is still, let me tell you something. Okay? When there is a geopolitical that we discussed, the tension started. Okay, it's not gonna end in a one day. There is something happened, there is some will be again restart at some point. So the market just getting some correction. Okay, so this bounce on gold, if you look at it, entirely broken out of the trend line and retested that previous resistance and support. Eventually it's a potential preparation for an upside. Okay, so remember, everything echoes in eternity, right? So therefore if you look at this, is had broken back to the upside, right? Now retested, they are potentially to trend back to the upside here in that market on WTA. So this is a primary move potential happen on gold. So if you look at the gold, that you can see the similar way. So gold is started its bullish move earlier and double bottom. At some point you will see the market has created the reversal pattern and bounce back to the upside on gold. So if you look at here, this is the biggest move of this point from this level to this, and the same level that you can see here in that. This is a massive one single break below here that if you look at. Therefore it has a volume in it, two significant liquidity grab. One is here, the other one is here. There is still possibility for further downside. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Thank you for so another drop. It dropped significantly. Okay, now because there was a huge range, normally when the market such a big range like that, one best thing you can do, let's say if you look at that a market, it might not be a rectangle, but if you see that the market is ranging like that, very extended range, suddenly one candle break below, never ever sell this candle. You see that after this kind of range break, it's more likely to go back up like that. It's always a good idea to trade this kind of range from like force breakout. So force breakout means, for example, let's say you see the market here maintaining that series of lower high, lower high, lower high, and then suddenly either creating like that or without creating like the market has gone back up like that, consolidating or creating. More often or not, in 90% of the case, you'll see the market will drop again. So that's a good area too. So when that series of higher lower highs broken or series of higher lows broken, in this kind of market is more often wise to buy rather than sell, because range break takes a lot of time for the market to reverse. So if you look at the same scenario here, the trend line is broken. Okay, now this is very less likely that this market will straight drop down here. Now there's a double bottom here, and so with the current market structure that you can see here, it is a good idea is to wait for the market to show up here at the moment. How to catch that move back to the upside? I missed it because I didn't know if it was going to drop lower. Okay, so now with this, if you look at it started a potentially an uptrend here. So Still, I don't see any clear directional bias in this market. If you look at, still not showing a clear directional bias. It might go in any direction here, yet until it prepare for one directional move. Okay. So the last 5 minutes candle that you can see creates big red bearish. So the imbalance here now in that direction, it is lower, smaller imbalance, nearly to 100 pip. Still not clear in terms of the directional bias. And as we are progressing with the NOI session, looking at for the further entry later this session, and also any trade that also I'm going to share in the premium group. We are almost nearing to the weekend closure. It was a great trading week, all of you guys together. Now next week is another big week coming in terms of the calendar, because the news data is important as the market moves accordingly. If you look at the CPI, PPI this week we have traded. Next week is a full packed with quite a few high impact news. By the way, one of the members ask for the AUD USD move in the market. If we look at, before we go, like to see the AUD USD. AUD USD is having a downtrend here that you can see. After, if you look at the weekly, now weekly price action looks very different. So we are almost nearing to the end of the week. You can see that this is a bullish market on the weekly. From the daily also created a bullish price action. From the intraday we can see there is a break below the market has left and imbalance breaking out of the structure. AUD USD, I think from the weekly we still could see that bullish market. The market is approaching that monthly support level where the price may eventually bounce off this level here. So that's where you can see that AUD USD potentially could bounce off the level here. On gold now, if you look at the intraday 4-hour price action after retesting this, creating a long wick doji. Now this price, if it is closing above here, we could see that further upside and potentially to trend continue here. That being said, traders, I hope that you enjoyed this whole week. Next week we will be trading again live in this market at the same time, and I would invite all of you to join back again in next week's sessions for trading live together, and also for discussing about everything about trading, including trading psychology, live analysis, live trades. Until that, stay well, stay happy.